The problems with psychology and mental control. This is an old video I made in German, so I will do a different version of it and do it more freely or less stricted. In essence, it is about the problematic thought that everything you do in the mental realm is controlled by the patterns you have or you learned throughout your life. So there's patterns you're born with that are probably healthy or not. They will be selected, and then there's the patterns that are learned, like how you see the world in special ways or in systems in this one. And these systems are for mental control, not only so that others can control you, but that you can control in important society, or society is controllable. Because if everyone agrees for the same thing, you can not only talk to each other, but you have common ground and common values. So those systems are like, you can say, like magic or spelling magic. If you spellcraft or if you spell something magical, like for example, if you have a shield that tells you to stop or a red light, the stop shield is more or less like a magic spell. You see that and you stop the car. Or you see a shield with danger, do not enter, and magically you think there's danger and you do not enter. It doesn't matter if there's really a reason for it or if there's really a danger. You just assume because that's how you have been conditioned, or that's how you think that it will help you. So mental patterns are controlled by that, or better to say, mental patterns are influenced by that in any shape, way, or form. And those systems create patterns, and patterns create those systems. So it's a how to say it, a self-helping or re-strengthening loop. So it's the same for modern psychology, or pop psychology, better to say, when people talk about archetypes and things like that. Archetypes basically mean just the essence. The essence of something is like the essential of something. So the essential of a type. What is a type? The type is thought, an idea. So it's the essence of an idea. And the essence of an idea is basically what the word means that you're speaking. So an archetype is basically the meaning of a word. So the archetype of a warrior, very often talked in YouTube, is the meaning of the word warrior, what it actually means. So instead of psychology, you should probably learn to speak first properly. So how does this matter or change the way we see the world? I have here made a graphic a while ago. It's in German, but most words you can translate without problem into English, and I will, no matter how, I will basically tell these or say to you what they are. I will try to explain how this graphic was made and what the contents are and what you can do with it, more or less. So it's I made this graph because I wanted a system to describe how males or how men work in a society, or what type of men there exist for that. So I thought about how can I more or less, on what basis can I make a raster or graphic to have something to work with. The problem here is you basically taking a complex being like a human and putting on a 2D graphic, and it's in no way, shape, or form something to describe society, but it's a tool. And as a tool, our systems or patterns are tools to be used. So I had two main things to think about, or the two main things I came up with was the initiative of a man, how much does he do by himself, and the individuality, how much does he do with the group. It's like how much does he want to do with the initiative, and how much does he need a group, or how does he seize the group. The group thing is horizontal and the initiative is vertical. On the lower horizontal, you have more or less the aim for the person, and in the vertical on the right side you have the motivation. So the arrows show the more of it. So on the left side, the more initiative you have, it's hoch, mittel oder niedrig, what means high, middle, or low. So people with a high drive are logically do more, and people with a low drive are more passive, or they are more part of something happens to them. Then we have the individuality, what means how high is it. Here is it the other way around, so the arrow goes lower. Individual that has high individuality will be more for himself. The middle is more for society, and the low one here is it's a tricky one to understand right away, but it's basically the individual sees himself as the collective. So number one, Roman 1 is basically apart from the collective. Number 2 is part of the collective, and number 3 thinks he himself is the collective. And these types are more or less correlated with the first one, who thinks he's a part of it. It's gesetzlos or lawlessness. A certain my word is more important than the law or society, and I do what I want. The second one are the socialized. They're part of community and they think in terms of community. And the third one are the criminals. So they think they themselves are their own community and they don't see those other boundaries. So everything basically just exists to help themselves because they are the collective. So I claim here criminality is not an effect of not enough socialization but over socialization, or not enough individuality but it's not too much individuality but it's too low individuality. So they just see the world as part of themselves, or the system as a part of themselves, and yourself is logically on the top. So the aims of these three types is, for the first one, it's freedom. Lawless people want freedom. From the second one, socialized people want safety. And from the third one, the criminals, they want domination over others. The initiative, the vertical one, is, I have A, B, C. A is high initiative, and their motivation is the ideal or motivation, something very abstract, something like abstract goal. They want to, I don't know, they want to write a book, or they want to conquer a place, or they want to their name known in history, something like that, something very abstract. They want their own company, things like that. And those I associated with, in the medieval sense, with the aristocracy, the knights. The the dukes and something like that. So the princess, the people that are actually power. This graphic is not meant as an description of this society, because the most people that will be on top are not those people with high initiative. They're probably the children of those, or they will be people with low initiative that just do what they have to do and don't do crazy stuff. B is the middle one, and the aim is social again. It is social, and it's the clericals, the priests, more or less, the people who look that everyone is in line. And C, the low one of the initiative, it's a peasant, or it's for material wealth. So we have the material wealth in the middle, and low, then you have the social in the middle, and the ideal in the highest. So it basically gets more abstract the more initiative someone has, because they have more initiative to think abstract also. So now I have this raster. Now I can have certain subtypes of people. I have 9 in all. So I go from the lowest, Roman free C. I have certain words or animals to describe them with them. C3 is a goat or a bog. Basically, those people are materialistic, but they want to dominate. They want material domination, and they don't have really a lot of initiative. They're more like people that just want stuff, and they want to have stuff. Your typical bourgeoisie caricature, or people that are associated with pigs or something like that. So they have less impulse control. They just want to take stuff. So that's in a criminal sense. In the extreme criminal sense, that will be your typical thief or something like that, or people that just do you bodily harm. So the very material stuff, the simple stuff, not something complex or something like that. Then we have B3. This one is practically the word means something like someone who runs around without a home, and it's a depiction of dogs. So like a dog without a home, a Streuner. These people want social domination. So there you okay. While the free C in the bog is, or the goat is like a typical sociopath. This Streuner, or the wandering dog, is more like a psychopath in that, or narcissist. He wants other people to socially to dominate them socially. He wants them to revere him, or he basically wants the role that A2 has to Hörter, the pastor, more or less. And those people basically want everything in social context. They want to always be right. They want other people to like them for no reason at all. They want basically all the social benefits without having to do the work. A3 is, I use it as a vampire. It's someone who wants the ideal domination, the highest type of criminal, more or less. It is someone who knows, or who has the capacities to know that he do something wrong. He can really differentiate between good and evil, but he will also have the capacity to ignore it. So he knows he does something wrong, and he wants to do something wrong, and he enjoys it. So these are practically the typical pop psychology psychopaths in any way. People who enjoy killing people and something. People who enjoy mutilating, or any type, way, or form. So the second type, we start with C. it's I say a sheep here or a lamb, like that. Those are people who just want material safety. They want to stay in the group and they want just to have enough. So they want a car, the house, and something like that, and they want nothing else. These are the ideal peasant types. They don't make any problems, they just do the work and they shut up. And they live the life and they're happy. The second socialist type is someone who wants to be. He wants social safety. He wants to be part of the group. He don't want to be ostracized. He wants to remain there. So he also looks that other people say the things they should say, that other people are in this realm, and they're more or less like the, I take here Schäferhund, they're more like the police. They're the shepherd hounds or sheepdogs to keep the sheep under control and help the pastoralists. The pastoralists are the A2s. They are basically the socialized high initiative people. They're the ideal. They want ideal safety. They want to be more or less on top or control the herd, and to make them or to make, could you say, them better or keep them safe. So the middle part is more or less the typical or ideal. The most of the people are there, and they are also the ones who society is basically made for them, and society is made by them. Yes. The first type, 1C, is here a wild ram or a wild sheep who seeks material freedom. So they want, they're your typical entrepreneurs, or how to say it in English. They're your people who want their stuff, but they want it for themselves. They don't want to pay taxes. They're the people who more or less go somewhere in the middle of nowhere and start farming just because it's their own thing. They don't want to be codependent on other people. Your typical frontiers pioneer peasant, something like that. B1 is a wild dog or something that has not properly been socialized. Someone who wants social freedom. The material stuff isn't that important. They want to be part of an own group. They want to be part of a different group. They want to be a part of society. There's those people are most often those who go and join fringe groups or something like that, or typical, I don't know, I imagine mercenaries or some people like that that are more free but also need the group. And A1 is high initiative, high individuality. Those I call the werewolves, or yes, people who can be part of society but choose not to. They want ideal freedom. So those are the people who also try to change how you think. Those are the people who also want mental change, not only material or social. Those are people who will aim for something that may break the system, but it's their gain and glory, and that's why they want to do it. So the percentages of people who are in these categories is a little bit problematic, because most people will be different types, and maybe you have damaged personalities who have the tendency to one or another. So there are also environmental factors. In the ideal, since most of the people will be in the Roman 2 category and in the C category. So the most 80% will be peasants, or will be the people who are concerned with material things. If not, society will not really work. Of course, the sheep, C2, will be the dominant one or the one who want material safety. You have then people who want material freedom or the people who want material domination. You can take it with the others. The rest 20% will be A and B, and A is maybe 1% or something like 1 out of 100 has the tendency for there. So those three other types are also 1, 2, or 3 are also different percentages. So it's in the end it's just a system and nothing more and nothing you can grasp with your hands. I mean, psychology is nothing more than formative literature, or you can say philosophy for the masses or for women. I don't know how to how to describe it, but it's a lower form of entertainment for tendency intellectual types that think they understand humans because they watched certain patterns more or less. So those types, as I said, the C is the peasant, you need them to run the society. B is the clerics, you need to control society more or less. And A is the aristocracy, who are the people who lead society. So this is the normal system or raster. At the same time, you have those three grades of individuality. You have the normal one, the middle, who is a part of society and thinks about society. You have the one with low, who thinks himself to be the society. Those are the people who are the damaging ones, the criminals. Then you have the people who have a high individuality, the lawless people, and they are the ones who more or less are the only people who have the capacity to fight against evil. So the criminals are not lawless. Criminals are part of the society or system. They need the society or system to survive and to thrive, because the socialized people will try to do everything to hold society and the social order together, and that also means they will protect criminals. They will protect them from the lawless people, because the lawless people would just probably kill them if they can. There's not really a question. But the socialized people more or less prevent that. And the socialist people will not get out of the way because they are part of the group and oriented. The criminals will not be part of the group because they think the rest of the group has to serve them. They're the essence of the group, more or less. So if the people become too criminal, society will not work. But if they become too lawless, society will not work as well, because you have to have the common ground. You have to think about how do you run society, what is an investment in society, and how do you keep people together to do something and to have an aim. So even if you think, okay, freedom is good, it's great, we should ideally aim for it, in the end, if there's too much freedom, we don't have a reason to stick together. So someone else will come and destroy us, or society will fall apart. The same is if they're too criminal, but also if they're too socialized. If people are too socialized, you have the problem that the system becomes brittle, it becomes hard, and it cannot move. It becomes like a tower that can't move, and it will break if the first earthquake comes. So more or less it is a game of all three, you could say. Of course, no one likes criminals, but maybe they're a component that you have to take with you, or you cannot improve. They're more like devil's advocate, if you like it. Yes. So now I have described a system. Now the system is more or less laid out. yeah, let's assume that system becomes part of the social mind, more or less. The system is created by one person who thought a little bit about something and came out with a pattern. That pattern now will be used by someone, or for a moment by you. If you want to use it for society, think about it, because it's mental sport and it's fun and life may be boring. So you will use it. But the moment you use it, your world or the complexity of the human or mankind or the man in society will be broken down by these 2D graphic. So you will think in the patterns or in the aspect of all these things I've told you. You may think you stand over it, but in the end it is a system and you can only think through systems. And that's why the mental patterns you think in are mental control. Again, someone can control you, you can control someone, or you can control yourself, your own mental thoughts or habits. If you wouldn't have patterns, you will have to rethink everything again and again. It's the same with me now trying to speak English. I can listen to it fine, I can think about it in my head fine, more or less I can understand everything, I can speak in my mind about everything, but if I have to talk, my tongue isn't used to it, so the words don't come easily, the articulation doesn't come easily, and I have problems with it. So I have problems with the tongue of the English because I have to reuse my tongue. I have to create patterns more or less, or use those patterns. And those patterns or the system of language, the grammar that I have to be accustomed to, or that I have to get used to again, will create the way I think in this language. Even language itself, the grammar you have will influence how you think. And you can only think or only speak in those patterns or in these languages. You can't outrun grammar with your tongue because you're bound by grammar, more or less. And it's the same for psychology. Instead of trying to see things, even if you claim to see things how they are, you will more likely use the previous patterns you have and get a new one without realizing what may be unhealthy or what is problematic. So you will be in your own system of control no matter what. The problem here is how to break it, how to utilize it, and how to dogmatic use it when it suits you. So you'd have to contradict yourself in that way. If you can't contradict yourself, you have no ability to find truth or speak truth, because in order to find or speak truth, you will have to face the possibility that you may not know what is right or wrong, or that you say the wrong thing. And the same it is with systems. So these systems will, in the long term, be of use as long as you see them that they are of use. If you can use them and they don't use you. So grammar is the same. It is a tool more or less to articulate yourself. As systems or graphics or all those things are also tools to articulate yourself. The problem is that if you use them wrong or incorrectly, like don't knowing what words like archetype means or something like that, not knowing the meaning of words, you will be controlled by these words, or you will be not efficient or persistent enough to articulate properly. Yeah, that was it in the essence. It should be nothing more than a raster or a pattern for you what I've talked here about this video, so they can use it more or less in other things of your life, so that you can use the system on the things of your life to re-systemize them and create new patterns if you have to, or make the old ones stronger. So the aim is to be mindful about what you say, what you think, and how you say it and how you think.